Everybody, I believe we're live streaming. We'll have our technical advisors, our folk here that's watching those live streams, to let us know, make sure we are on. And it is so good to have everybody here. As Terry just said, we're trying to recuperate from having a week off. And I myself, I forgot to post the links till Ronald reminded me. So I want to say again, thank you, Ronald, for bringing that to my attention. And it is so good to be here tonight. We're so glad to have those of you that are listening via Power Faith Radio. I always like to say it. Clear my throat first. Broadcasting from the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee. You're listening to Power Faith Radio. So it's going to have those.
I need to make a trip to Gatlinburg now.
Yeah. So it's so good to have everybody with us there tonight. The Georgia group, they've got 19 with them tonight. They're expecting another family to come over. They did receive the books we sent them, but I sent some more books, and I kind of got them back, so I'm trying to resend that to get that there. I put something wrong on the address, and I do that. I told everybody before we started I was an old man, but then they started talking, and I'm just a little baby. I'm finding out I'm just a little baby.
I'm the baby.
Okay. So, all right, those of you that are joining us tonight through our YouTube channel, Outreach Noah, we so appreciate you joining us via our YouTube channel. We want you to subscribe to that channel, hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up, and we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. So share those videos with all your social media platform. Also, we're broadcasting tonight on A Simple Walk. We appreciate everybody that joins that way and listens that way. We ask again, please share that video with all your social media platforms. And then we've got our private group, which is a B'nai Noach Fellowship, and we thank those that are joining us through that. Please like and share that what you can, and in both those groups, in all of them, please comment so we know you're there, and ask questions. Terry always loves to hit those questions, and we love to put them together and present them to him. It's always good to have everybody that joined us in the Zoom room tonight. Of course, we got Thomas Schaus, we got Yeoman Asher, which is Amuela Asher, we got Ronald Dickman from Australia, and Wendell Parsons from New York. Did I get that right, Wendell? Ain't I something? And we got Chrissy Seaton from Australia as well, right? Did I say that right? Yes, I said that right. And Veronica Port is from Washington. Man, I had some more hair fall out this week, so apparently it gave some more room for some brain right there. And then I've got my lovely wife, Annie Helton. Her name is Dolores Helton, with us tonight. And so it's just so good to have everybody. Let's see, did I name everybody? Thomas, Anuela, Ronald, Wendell, Chrissy, Veronica, my wife, Dolores, and last but not least, Terry Hayes. Terry, would you like to greet everybody while I get ready with our Tzedakah time?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be listening to us. Thank you for coming tonight. We know we had a break last night, a little bit different. Kind of helps a little bit. Scotty would being out of town, but it's kind of nice a little bit to take a break, gather, just, give yourself a refresher and everything. Our last class, we answered, we took a question. Scotty compiles the questions. We took one of the questions and did the class on the question. And we've had some really good feedback. And so we've been discussing it, and we're going to do that a little bit more often. And that way we can actually devote a whole class to like one or two questions and spend some good time on it. So it's just nothing that's hurried and everything. So we enjoyed it, and it seems like a lot of others enjoyed it as well. So it's something to look forward to in the future, and we'll announce in the future when we're going to do those classes just on the questions. And again, thank you for coming. Remember to have your notebooks and pens, and like I said, feel free to send us your questions that we have, especially if anything's pertaining to the class tonight or the class at any time. We will try our best to, answer those or start those up and get at least an answer started for you. I'll introduce what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks here in just a few minutes. And just remember to have those notebooks and pens and paper, because we're going to be starting a really good series. This is more in an introductory type lessons that we're going to be doing going into the 7 laws. Is more good introductory, and I think you'll enjoy it. Scott, are you about ready?
I am ready.
All right, there's your
I
mic.
get a button over there. So, all right. Well, tonight we're going to use. We need our little larger tzedakah box tonight, so we're going to use this one. Somebody sent it to us, and I love it because it's got tzedakah written in Hebrew on both sides. So we're going to use it tonight. So here we go. We're going to start with our birthdays, and John Riggs had a birthday since the last time we were together. So we're giving tzedakah for John Riggs. Also, Adam Helton. Now, Adam is one of my cousins, and I did not know that he has been going over and watching the YouTube channel. And so we appreciate that. And Adam had a birthday since the last time we was here. Also, Abigail Goldberg had a birthday since the last time we was here, and we're giving tzedakah for her. Daniela Golish, now I think I pronounced that right. Sorry, Danielle, if I didn't pronounce that correctly, but we're giving tzedakah for her tonight. Also, Aaron David Piston, we're giving tzedakah. He had a birthday, and we're giving tzedakah for him tonight. Also, Clark Smith had a birthday since the last time we were together, and we're giving tzedakah for him tonight. Also, Ari Greenwald had a birthday. We're giving tzedakah there. And Ann Parker, giving tzedakah for Ann Parker. And also Stacy Walker. Stacy Walker is one of our Georgia people, and she said we could say that. So she had a birthday since the last time we were together. Now let me get on over to our prayer list. And listen, as we give these names of prayer, I got to thinking, I would love to see everybody to go to, when you see a charity box in a store or whatever charity, and when you give charity, pick out somebody and give charity in their honor, and that's not hard to do, and I believe it'll really bless you. It'll really do something for you. So, okay, we're going to start off.
Scotty, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe it'd be a good idea to maybe start you a little tzedakah prayer list in a notepad or something that you can keep in your purse or close by in your glove box, and that way, when you're out and about and you have the opportunity, then you have that list of those who are asking for help that you can give tzedakah in their name.
Yes.
And that'll be a blessing for them and you as well. And also it actually blesses the world, which we'll learn a little bit more about that as we go through this new series.
Sounds good. Baruch Hashem. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. So our first tzedakah tonight we're giving on this is for our teacher, Pesach Sherbo, and giving tzedakah there. And also for Sharon Garland, giving tzedakah for Sharon tonight. And also Ernie and Ellie Kessler. That's my aunt and uncle on my dad's side. Also, Wayne Vivers. We're still giving tzedakah for Wayne. I don't think we've heard anything in that aspect, but we're still giving tzedakah for Wayne. And Sarah Reeves. We're still giving tzedakah for Sarah Reeves. Also, Ronald Dickman. Ronald, how you doing?
Apart from the symptoms I have, okay. I've spoken to other people, actually, my sister's best friend in a similar situation, and another bloke who used to live next door to me was telling me the same thing. Sometimes people who've smoked for an awful long amount of time, when they give it up, they actually decrease in fitness. It sounds ridiculous, but the bloke next door, he knew a guy who was a jogger, always a jogger, and he finally gave up smoking, and he wasn't able to jog in the end. But he took up smoking again and he was able to jog. It's really all back to front, and it does sound ridiculous. But so there's no more tests to be done. Everything's come up clear. So
Okay.
it's not an age thing. It's just the way my body is, that I get exhausted and extremely exhausted on walking up an incline.
I guess
so I just learned to live with it. At least I know there's nothing dangerous that needs dealing with. That's the good part out of it. There's nothing to go forward with, but there's nothing, badly wrong that needs work on.
Good. I guess that falls under the category of conditioning. We get conditioned to a certain point, and then when we try to change that, our body just says, "Hey, wait a minute, you just now got me conditioned for this, and now you want to change?" So anyway, so all right, that's good. That's good news, though.
And thank you for saying that, because I didn't know what to say about it, but using the term conditioning, because that's basically what it appears to be from the people I know that have been in the same situation. And it's not like it's an emphysema situation either, because that's not an issue. So it leaves nothing but, as you just said, use the term conditioning. People probably get a better grasp of what I'm trying to say to them. Thank you.
All right. Also, we're giving tzedakah tonight still for Wendell and Mary Parsons. Wendell, how is your wife doing? Would you give us an update on her?
Yeah, she had to have some more testing done. We think she's done with the testing. She's got to now go have one more scan, and then hopefully in about 2 weeks they'll start the radiation treatments.
Okay. We're going to continue to give tzedakah, and I'm going to ask everybody to maybe write Mary Parsons down on your list, as Terry said, and give tzedakah the rest of this week for her. And then also Bria Warnstaff. We're giving tzedakah for Bria tonight. And also David Brimmer. We're still giving tzedakah for David Brimmer tonight. And Amuela, somebody always sends in $1. This is your dollar we're giving to tzedakah for you to be blessed, Amuela. So we thank that person that always sends that, and they also likewise always sends $1 in for Thomas Schaus. Thomas, somebody sent $1 in for you to give to tzedakah. And also, Veronica, you're on somebody's list too, because that same person keeps giving. So you're in somebody's heart. So they're sending $1 in for you as well, Veronica. And then also we're giving tzedakah still for Ronnie Suits. Have you heard anything? You got an update on Ronnie, Terry?
Yeah, he seems to be doing a lot better. The other day, he said that he probably had one of the best days he's had in a long time.
Great.
And all that.
Great. Also, we're giving tzedakah tonight for Carol St. George, and we're giving tzedakah tonight for Joyce Williams, and we're giving tzedakah tonight, if I wrote this name down right, David Ben Sarah, giving tzedakah for him tonight. Okay. We're going to move into our blessed memory tzedakah, and we've got 3 that are on our list tonight. The first one that we want to talk about is Sally Justice. I've got some, I meant to bring, they're on the top of the shelf over here.
I've got mine downstairs. I didn't think about it either. I could have brought it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring them down and show them next week what she made and sent to us. So Sally Justice has left this walk of life, passed away, and we're giving tzedakah in her merit, and she will be greatly missed. And that's Sally Justice. And also Laura Walton. She had a birthday this little while ago, didn't she, Veronica? So we're giving tzedakah for her. And then also my dad. It was 2 years Sunday before last, and we're giving tzedakah in blessed memory of my dad, Gavin Giles. I'm just going to say it one time. No, I'll say it 1,000 times. Tzedakah will change you, give you a better outlook on life, gratitude with that tzedakah. It'll change your community, and together we can change the world. All right, Terry, are you about ready?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I mean, I'm down in Tennessee. I forget.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's yeah.
Hey, can I give a little story about gratitude?
Go
Real
right
quick.
ahead.
I was out in West Tennessee doing some work, and it wasn't real.
That's an understatement.
It wasn't real pleasant work. I'm just going to tell y'all. I drove out there. It was about a 6.5 hour drive, and we were trying to help some folks remodel a bathroom, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's all you need to say.
It wasn't real pleasant, and it was hot, and it was dry, and I probably got 2, maybe 3 hours of sleep at best each night for that week. For one, I wasn't with my baby, and so I was in a bed by myself, and just out there. Of course, I went with some other folks, and they helped, and it was just so hot. And on the Wednesday morning, it had come a huge rainstorm. And so I was already at the job, and so I stepped outside to get something, and the water felt so good. I needed it because it was hotter in the house than it was outside. And so the rain was just had me all. I'm just going to tell you, I was soaking wet with the rain. Big old drops, as Forrest Gump said, it was big old drops. And I just said, thank you, Hashem, for the rain. I needed this. And so I went back in the house, and the folks was in the house said, you have sweated? You just sweated plumb out. I said, no, that's rain from the Lord above. But I needed that, and so the rest of that week I gave gratitude, even though I didn't get no more rain. I gave gratitude for that little bit of rain. Everybody I met, we was eating at this little diner, and the gentleman kind of hit it off with him. He gave me a big old huge jar of honey, but we just got talking about gratitude and thankful for everything that God has given us. And so be thankful for what you have. Look at everything around you. If anytime you think you don't have anything to be thankful for, take a deep breath. Be thankful for the breath. Be thankful that you can see, because there's a lot of people that can't see. They can't see like you do. Your hearing, your speech, your smell, your touch, and the people you have around you. Be thankful for that. Give gratitude for that. Okay, Terry, I'm going to hush right there.
How about that little bit of healing you got from that snake bite?
Oh, I did. I had some kind of little snake bite on my hand. I was reaching my hand under a house where it shouldn't have been, apparently, and he didn't like it. And so it was sore that night, and then I always rub this natural cream on my hand, and I rubbed it on my hand, but I can't even see the dots now, Terry. I done forgot about it. So
There's something else to be grateful for, isn't it?
Gratitude.
All right. Yeah, that'll talk. I've got a whole stack of books over here from Rabbi Shalom Arish on gratitude.
It'll change him.
Yeah.
All right, Terry, I'm going to get ready to put you on speaker view.
Okay. All right. Tonight, Scotty and I are going to be discussing. I'm going to be going through an article here. First, let me give the proper information. For this article comes from Chabad.org, which is a resource that I have used for over 20-something years. They're a great resource in learning something. Not everything's for us. It is a Jewish site, but they do. The Rebbe Menachem Schneerson of blessed memory is actually before he passed away, he charged his students to reach out to the non-Jewish people and teach them the things that the Creator wanted Israel to teach us, and how to walk with Him as a non-Jew. And so this comes from Chabad.org. The title is 7 Laws for a Beautiful Planet, the Noahide Tradition by Tzvi Freeman. And I've read his stuff. Matter of fact, I've got several of his articles here over the years. I was going through one of my drawers the other day that had just stacks and stacks of papers from different studies I've done, and I was going through and organizing and getting some plastic slips, and I found some other articles of his that I had copied off years ago. He's a really good author, as you'll see. As I'm going to be reading this word for word, and Scotty and I are going to be discussing some things. If you have any questions, feel free to get them to Scotty, and Amuela and Thomas can help get those to him from those other groups. So 7 laws. This is a little bit different than what I've ever done. I've never really gone through an article like this, but when I read this, I contacted Chabad to get permission to be able to teach this on a live class, and where it's recorded, and also for the YouTube channel and everything. So I do have permission from them to do this. Tzvi Freeman starts out right here, 7 laws for a beautiful planet. We are a single organism, a tenuous membrane stretched over the vast but delicate globe. Every cell sharing every breath of air, every sip of water, every microbe, even every bite of knowledge. Vast webs of communication and trade have forged us together, much as proteins bond the elements of life. We are humankind. But not so fast. We're not cells. We are human. We're human beings. Each an entire world. We have families and cultures, beliefs and religions. We value these distinctions, and without them, each of us is no more than another solitary amoeba floating aimlessly upon the waves of meaningless universe. We'll read that again. For without them, these values, talking about the values and distinctions, for without all of these distinctions, each of us would be no more than just another solitary amoeba floating aimlessly upon the waves of a meaningless universe. Distinctiveness is vital, for in this universe, without diversity, there is no life. You know, that's an interesting statement. Without diversity, there is no life. If you go back and read the creation week, look at the diversity that the Creator gave when He created heaven and earth, and He created the beings in the spiritual realm and in the physical realm. And He created, even in the physical realm, those elements that today it takes a micron telescope just to see them because they're so small. But it takes everything together for life. But here lies a problem. Can we find a new consciousness that will allow each of us to retain our unique heritage while playing in tune with humanity's grand orchestra? Can we find a new consciousness that will allow each of us to retain our unique heritage while playing in tune with humanity's grand orchestra? You see, here's one of the problems with religion. You want to convert everybody to look and sound just like you. And when someone doesn't fit that mold, you kick them out. Believe me, I've been there. There's been more wars fought on this planet because one group wasn't like another group. But yet, can we find a consciousness where all the heritages can still live? Each heritage can live and be their heritage, but yet be a part of this grand orchestra. It sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? If it were not for one, it says, if it were not for one thing, the path is already here. This consciousness is already here. It says the path has been here as long as we have. It is the one thing we all share because none of us made it up. the path that each one of us are to walk in all of our differences, in all of our cultures, in all of our heritages. None of us made this path up. It's already been here. And this path can be seen throughout every culture. Anything before I go into the very first aspect, Scotty? You got anything you want to add first?
Yeah, I got a couple more buttons to push before I can get over to you.
That's fine.
The diversity thing is I'm going to call a wonderful aspect, because so many times and again, I'm choosing my words wisely, in religious aspects, we want everybody to be like our particular brand of religion.
Yeah, and even within those brands, people fight back and forth of wanting, well, you're not like me.
Exactly. And if you can accept somebody for their diversities, accept somebody and be greater for, you know what I'm trying to say? If we can just accept them, and then if we have differences, we can work them out through acceptance of each other, and not be like a hatred thing. So I just want to throw that in.
Right. Now, that being said, because of the nature of the society that we are in today, not the one we were in 5 years ago. I was going to say 20, but I can say 5 now. But the nature of the society we live in today, yes, there are a lot of diversities in some areas, but some areas there doesn't need to be diversity, because some areas cross moral issues.
Exactly. I'm going to
so
bring that up next.
We may accept the person, but that doesn't mean we have to accept the immoral lifestyles, if that makes sense. I mean, because I've got friends that are in some lifestyles that I don't totally agree with, but they're human beings which every day that they wake up with the image of God still in them. And so that's a thing that's kind of a balancing act that you just have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn. It has been humid today here, folks. This morning it was 72 degrees and 97% humidity. You could cut it with a knife.
I couldn't get my hair to lay down.
You can get married. I can tell it's curly tonight. All right, this first section. See, now look, he went black. What'd you do, Scotty? You turn the lights out? He ain't paying no attention to me. Does he know that he's in the dark? I don't think he knows he's in the dark. He looks like he's frozen. Is everybody hearing us okay, Amuela? All righty. Maybe he'll join us. Maybe we just beamed out for a minute. All righty. The unreligion. This was very interesting. There is an ancient teaching that has no houses of worship, no priest, no conversions or conversion ceremony. Oh, it looks like he dropped out. He must be having technical issues. So I don't know if we're still running on. Are we still running on all the platforms there? All right. I'll just start this in order. There's an ancient teaching that has no houses of worship, no priest, no conversion ceremony, no need to abandon his or her heritage to embrace it, only to return, to dig deep back to the essential truths that are buried within each belief system known to humankind, and to discard the outer layers that may have distorted the message. This right here, I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, go ahead, Thomas.
Scotty said he's going to try to be right back. They had a lightning strike.
Oh.
Everything went out.
Y'all got a storm blowing up there, Scott?
Oh, yeah. That's what I was out with the leak. I still had this on, though.
Okay.
Tied into this.
Y'all be careful.
Yep, I'll be back.
All righty. Okay, this here is one of the hardest. I'm just going to be honest with you. when you begin to grasp and walk the path, the ancient path, like it says, I believe it's in Jeremiah, it says, to walk the ancient path. And this path that we're talking about is ancient because it goes all the way back to Adam. It goes all the way back to the first of creation. It is the path and the way we're going to see here in just a second. And I'm actually come across some interesting information on this, and that I'm in the process of studying, that I hope here in the future to be bringing to you, that will actually tie into a lot of what I'm going to be sharing with you in this series. But to be honest with you, the hardest part is not walking in the will of God. It's not accepting the will of God. That's not hard. What's hard is this path is ancient. And when you walk away from the modern counterfeits, this is what's hard. There's no houses of worship. There's no priest. There's no conversion ceremony. That's hard. That's hard when you walk away from the system that you were born and raised or lived in, or maybe you're the second, third, fifth, 10th, 15th generation of your family in a system. And when you tap into this very ancient system that doesn't have all of these. Now that doesn't mean, like it says, no houses of worship, that it means you don't worship. It's just, it's not an organized system as far as an organization, a religion, a group, however you want to put it. Hey, I see his face coming back. Maybe he's slowly coming back. He's connecting. There you are. There he's not. Oh, lightning can be very strange when it hits things. If I've seen the videos here lately of things getting struck, like cars and trees and stuff, and even I've seen a lake one day got hit. It looked like an atomic bomb went off when that lightning bolt hit the water. But anyhow, what's really hard is the no places, no houses of worship, because we don't have houses of worship. That and that's a very difficult part, and everyone experiences it in their own way. And for many people, it's what they consider a lonely period. Is this no houses, no priest, which we do have priests. It's just they're the original priest, the priest of Israel. They are actually our priest. And there is slight a conversion, because when we went through Jonah, we seen that the sailors of the ship and the people on the ship that Jonah was with, they converted. They left their false gods and clung unto the God of Israel. So in a way, that's conversion just means change. They made a change. It says that you may have heard of this teaching preserved and transmitted over the millennia by the Jewish people, although it is older even than that ancient nation. That all religions sprouted from a single seed and share a single root. Scotty, we were talking about it as you were out dancing with the lightning bolts there, as Thomas was telling us about. We were talking about the ancient teaching that it has no houses of worship, no conversion, no ceremony, no need to abandon your heritage. But you are to embrace it, embrace your heritage, and embrace the ancient path. You got anything you want to say on that before we move on? I was trying to share a little bit about the difficulty, especially of the no houses of worship and things like that you kind of go through a time period.
No, not at this time.
You don't. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because right as I was going into that, it was all black and just your face looked like you were sitting there in the dark.
I was sitting in the dark just for a second.
Well, we're glad you're okay.
I am too. It's still thundering. I don't know if you can hear in the background. So if I go again, I'll be back shortly.
All righty. Are you talking about my height again?
No.
Okay. So you may have heard of this teaching preserved and transmitted over the millennia by the Jewish people, although it is older even than that ancient nation. That all religions sprouted from a single seed and share a single root. According to this tradition, the Noahide tradition, Noah, the father of us all, planted that seed as a gift he received from the Creator of all things. It is based on a set of laws or instructions that he had received from Adam, renewed and explained for Noah's time, and it means expanding, means when the adding on to this was the permission to eat meat, which we'll be getting into that later because it's in one of the instructions that the Creator gave Noah after the flood. It says, it is a guide from beyond to show humankind how to create and sustain a world that will never again face destruction. I wanted to bring this out. In Genesis chapter 6, and I'm going to flip over here without hitting the mic and exploding everybody's earballs. All right. Genesis chapter 6, and I'm reading from the ArtScroll Interlinear, which means it's interlinear. It's Hebrew and English, Hebrew on top with the English underneath, so it kind of reads sometimes a little bit different than just reading a straight English sentence. In Genesis chapter 6 and verse 12, in the English, and it says, and God saw the earth, and indeed it was corrupted, for corrupted had all flesh its way upon the earth. This is one of those situations where I've gone through this passage, I don't know how many, almost 100 times or more in the last several years as I've studied Genesis chapter 6. But until I come across something here lately that brought me into a little closer look at the Hebrew of this passage and how this even just ties into what we're going to be talking about really from now on the 7 laws, it says in the Hebrew that God saw the earth, and indeed it was corrupted. For corrupted had all flesh its way upon the earth. In Hebrew it says, kol basur, all flesh. Es darcho al haaretz. Now here's what's interesting. In the Hebrew it says all flesh. He's seen that all flesh had been corrupted. Which, and according to the Torah sages, the word corrupted here, the hishtit, I'm trying to pronounce it right. The word corrupted here, it means a moral corruption. Because see, it goes on when you that the earth was filled with Hamas, robbery. That was the social side. The earth was corrupted morally and socially, individually and socially. It was the social injustice that brought on the flood. But when we back up here to verse 12, this is very important. That all flesh. See, the sea animals, one of the reasons why you don't read about the sea animals in the story of the flood is the sea creatures are not considered flesh. They're not considered flesh. What's flesh is the animals that's on the earth itself, be it the human and the other animals. It says all flesh, whether it be in human or animal. When we get to the commandment of every man chai, not eating meat taken from a living animal, we're going to even look in the Hebrew of that and learn some interesting stuff. But here, we see here all flesh is, it says, corrupted had all flesh its way. So what we learn, what the Torah sages bring out here, is that there was a way that became, there was a lightning strike, I saw it blitter. That there is a way that became corrupted. I mean, how many times have we read that and really never thought about this? That there was a way that became corrupted. So evidently at one time it was not corrupted. So my question is what is Darko Haaretz? Or Derek Eretz, which is what I am actually studying right now. And I've got some books that I'm fixing to order this weekend that will even teach more on Derek Eretz, which actually means the way of the earth, the way of the land. But there was a way of the earth that was not corrupted. But it became corrupted. It became corrupted enough that all flesh had corrupted this way. And it brought on the destruction. That's why Tzvi Freeman says here, it says that according to the tradition of Noah, the father of all of us, has planted the seed, gifted and received from the creator of all things. It is based on the laws he had received from Adam, renewed and expanded in Noah's time. It is the guide from beyond to show humankind how to create a sustainable world that would never again face destruction. This way is a guide of how to live. And it's this guide that became corrupted. And what we want to learn is what is the uncorrupted way. Go ahead, Scotty.
That's what I was going to ask you. You know, and I guess we're going to cover this as this article goes on. But from what I'm hearing and what I see, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been wrong before, it's not like it's hard to corrupt. It's almost like it's a very easy thing. Can someone have good ideas, but the good ideas could end up being morally corrupt?
I guess you can say that, yeah.
I mean, with good intentions. Let me say good intentions.
Right.
And then end up, we get caught up in the zeal and caught up in the excitement of something that happens, and then we begin to corrupt around us. So,
right. Well, see, what I really like when I was reading this article and I was going back and I was looking at this, that all flesh had corrupted its way. That meant all flesh. When you think about this and you go back and you look at Genesis, the creation week, all flesh, the birds, the animals, the cattle, the human beings, and everything, and even including the plant world. When we studied Rabbi Hershey, when he's teaching on Genesis 1:11 and through 13 about all the animals, the plants and the trees and different things, or the earth is to bring forth those after their kind. Each piece of creation has a way of the Creator designed within it. The plant life, the nature plant life, whether it be a tree or a cornstalk or a blade of grass, it cannot corrupt its way. It is permanently set. The way that God created is permanent. There's no change in it. The only change that can happen to the plant world is if man interjects it. And man is the one who interjected the change into the flesh world. He began to change the way. Because it says, and it means, so the Creator's telling us that the flesh corrupted its way. That means he had a way for us to live by that became corrupted. So my question is, what is that way? It's not a faith. It's not a religion. It's not a belief. It's a guide. The guide to life became corrupted by those of us that have free will. And we brought that corruption into the animal world, and then we brought it in, and of course we began in our world. So as I see this, I'm trying to say this slow. I hope you don't mind me repeating this a lot, because this really clicked with me when I was studying that the world had a way. And that way became corrupted. And so now when we're learning the 7 laws of a beautiful planet, we are discovering that uncorrupted way. How is it uncorrupted? I'm just going to jump the gun a little bit. You know, as I started living by these laws several years ago, when I seen that this was the path that the Creator wanted me to take, and this is what He wanted me to learn, let me share with you the things that's happened with me and helping me. You know, of course, I fail in other areas. We all corrupt this way, but the beauty of it is if you really want to walk with the Creator, you'll recognize these things in your life, and you'll try to uncorrupt those ways within yourself with the help of the Creator. But giving you an example of trying not to corrupt the way. As a Southern guy, born and raised in South Central Kentucky, lived in Tennessee most of my life, found out that I'm from Tennessee from the 1800s. So I have this southernness that's within me, with a tinge of redneck, because I've got a little bit of that in my family. And that's what gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes I have to tell God, if you'll turn around, I'm going to turn around my hat backwards, and I'm going to get into something here that I shouldn't be getting into. But one of the things when we're learning about murder, when we get to it, the prohibition of murder, when we start getting into the depths of what it all means, it doesn't mean just actually drawing someone's blood. One of the subcategories is that we are not to even lift a hand toward another human being. That it is a form of violating the commandment of murder when we raise our hand against another human being. Now, self-defense is a different situation. You know, I've run into times in the last year or so where I found myself in a situation that I really wanted to mop the floor with this particular person. They said some things, they've done some things that's not humanly correct, and they don't care. And I'm standing there and I'm clenching. I'm serious. I was clenching my fist, and in my mind, I was saying, "Do not lift your hand, because it's not what the Creator wants you to do. Do not do this." So you're standing there, and your human nature is to, mop the floor with this guy. But the law of God, the will of God within you is saying, no, don't do that. It's not really. Yeah, you're gonna probably feel good for a few minutes, and then and afterwards you're gonna notice it really didn't achieve anything. And so, by me not acting on that is helping me uncorrupt my human nature to want to take something out on someone in anger. If that makes any sense. And I've had several situations over the last year where I've stood there and I've actually put my hands in my pocket. Because see, in Psalms 1 says, and Haish, praised is the man. And he goes on down in there and says, who meditates upon the Torah, the instructions of the Creator, day and night. And I have tried my best. I do. I try to meditate, and I think when I get into a situation, I don't always, I get that big old F, failure mark with the red from the teacher. I do get those, like we all do. But what I'm trying to say is when you begin to walk this ancient path and you begin to meditate upon it day and night, you start trying to uncorrupt the way. Am I making any sense, Scotty? And it's some of those situations. It takes time, folks. And if you fail, don't beat yourself up. That's what repentance is all about. You don't go and do that saying, I'll repent later, although that's sometimes it's what you want to do. I'm going to knock your lights out and then I'll go ask for forgiveness. And, no, it doesn't work that way. We shouldn't have that in mind. But we should meditate upon the instruction, like Psalms 1 says, that we should meditate upon the instruction of the Creator day and night, so that it's within you when these situations happen. Because we live in a corrupted world. The way is still corrupted. It's just not to the point of destruction. But as we, want to walk with the Creator and His will, and we want to just learn this uncorrupted way, it takes time. It takes work. It's not a belief. It's not a faith. I've tried to share things with, well, that's not all I believe. It's not about what you believe. It's how you act. And we've got to change our actions, because it's the actions that brought on destruction. In the book of Jonah, where we just went through 20 weeks of learning Jonah, when we get down to the very end, we learn that it was the actions that the Creator saw that He granted them forgiveness. Not their belief, not their faith. Matter of fact, the Torah scholars teach us not one pagan temple came down. They were still in pagan beliefs. So it had nothing to do with it. Their belief wasn't to the point for destruction. But when you come to the flood, when you come to Nineveh, and when you come to Sodom and Gomorrah, every one of those, when God got involved from heaven above and fire and brimstone and water and ready to wipe things out, everything was about the action of man toward another man, toward another person. And this is the ancient way. It became corrupted morally. What we learn in the flood story with the word corruption and the word Hamas, robbery or violence, what we learn is from both of those, moral, which is your personal moral issues with one another and by yourself, and the social, the social sins of injustice. At the time of the flood, it included all of that, and it corrupted the way. My question is, write it down on your paper. What is the uncorrupted way of God? And this is what is the 7 laws that produces a beautiful planet is all about. I just like how he says, never again will we face destruction. It is a guide from beyond to show humankind how to create a sustainable world that will never again face destruction. And it all has to do with your actions. The way of the Creator has everything to do with action. And it is a teaching that brings many voices into harmony, for it is the essence of all of them, and yet does not deny to any of its own its unique beauty. Meaning we don't have to give up our cultures and our heritages. That does not violate this way is not wrong. It's beautiful. Whether you're a native, here a Native American, North American, South American, whether you're in Brazil and Germany and Australia, all of us have our individual cultures. We have our heritages that we can be proud of. I mean, like here in the South, we got biscuits and gravy and fried chicken. It's good stuff. We have our country music, our rock and roll, our blue suede shoes. I mean, we have all kinds of good stuff here, and you have yours. And one thing I love to do is learning other cultures and other heritage. I find it beautiful. I love finding the beauty in what, and that's what this class here will talk about, is the beauty that's within each of our own cultures. It says, after all, once you have found truth in your own backyard, this is a beautiful statement that Mr. Freeman makes. He says, after all, you have found truth in your own backyard. That does not mean no one else is allowed a backyard. Rather, in each backyard is another glowing ember of truth known to Noah. Each people has a culture and developed a certain wisdom and a certain beauty that others lack. You see, no one culture, no one nation has it all. But when you put us together, we're an orchestra. We're a bouquet of flowers. We complement each other. That's why trying to convert everybody into one religion, regardless of what it is, it takes away the beauty. Who wants... okay, a dozen roses, that's pretty. But who plants all roses? Who plants all black-eyed Susans or lilies? No, you plant all these others. Look at an orchestra. What if they were all flat-top guitars? 100 people up there playing the same instrument. Some of our greatest musicians from Bach and all of them guys, and Beethoven. Listen to that music. Hear the separate instruments that are playing that makes the sound. That's what the Creator wants to hear coming out of this earth, is an orchestra whose way is not corrupted. But you have all of that music going on, and you break one string on a violin or a guitar, or one note sticks on a trumpet, and you'll hear it. It messes up. When one instrument becomes corrupted, the whole sound becomes corrupted. Man, I think I could preach on that. But everyone has a backyard, and that doesn't mean we can't enjoy our own backyard, but understand that someone else's backyard has something that we lack. And they lack from not having what's in our backyard. We need to learn to come together. So that all we're presented, so it says, so that's all we're presented here. A guide to finding the truths within the traditions we already have. For in those latent truths lie all that we need to breathe together as one harmonious humankind, embracing one healthy planet Earth. That's the introduction to the introduction. And that's where we'll have part 1 tonight. Scotty, anything to discuss here on what was covered?
No, I like the way. Now, who was that writer again? In case somebody wants to go and find
this. He has some great art. Now, remember, he is a Jewish author, so some of his stuff, or majority of his stuff, will be toward his own people. But like this, he does write some things for the non-Jewish world. This one is by Tzvi Freeman. Here, I'll spell this out for you, and if y'all want to put it in the chat so people can see. It is TZVI. Tzvi. It's a TZ. Tzvi Freeman. Freeman. And he's one of the authors at Chabad.org.
Good deal. Now,
and like I said, it's a great resource. They have pages that are have information and material for us. Matter of fact, I think isn't Dr. Shulman of AskNoah.org. I think he's connected to them. I may be wrong, but Chrissy could straighten me up on that a little bit because she works with them. But that's another great resource, and I think it comes from a Chabad source as well. But anyhow, tonight was on the Noahide tradition, beginning understanding the Noahide tradition about Noah and the unreligion, that this is not a religion. It's a guide. I really like his choice of words.
Yeah.
It's a guide on how to never face destruction and how to embrace the healthy planet, the planet Earth.
Great. Ronald has his hand up.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, just two small points. The first one, fish aren't classified, but in the oceans we've got the mammals, the whales and the dolphins, etc. And secondly, you're saying we've all got our own cultures, that some native cultures, their religion and culture are really one.
Right. Even within those cultures, there are elements of the ancient path. The ancient path that goes throughout the whole earth. The problem is idolatry. When it came in, actually idolatry came in through the grandson of Adam, and it picked right back up after the flood as man scattered across the earth. And when I'm talking about the cultures, I'm not talking about like religious cultures.
No,
now, like you said, some of the
Aborigine.
Some of the Aborigines and like say some of the tribes that are in some of the other countries that are like, out in the jungle and things like that. Everything that they do is, again, not necessarily wrong. Their culture that's based on their idolatrous religions, that could bring some issues. But those things, as you read the scriptures, when I'm talking about scriptures, I'm talking about the Hebrew scriptures. When you're reading in things like Kings with Naaman and Jonah, as these kind of people come in contact with the one true God, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, those that really are truthful, they will change. They will stop those things. But not everything in their culture they have to throw away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scotty.
So on this idea of the corruption, I know we have some people, and this is in any culture, as things get handed down, they came by their corruption honestly.
Exactly.
And
it's,
so,
even it says at the time when Adam's grandson Enosh brought in idolatry, and we've discussed this a little bit, and we'll discuss it again even further, even more as we come into different subjects that tie back to it. It said there came upon a time over the period of time. Again, this is like what you were talking about earlier. The intention was good. Actually, there was nothing wrong with the intention. They recognized that the planets, the sun, the earth, and the stars were all the servants of God. Everything serves God for his purpose. That's why he made them. But what they saw is that they were getting no honor as a servant of God. And so they said, well, we need to honor the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the constellations. Then we need to honor them as servants. And in itself, you can see that in a human way, it's not wrong. Okay, the princes, like in a royal family, the princes need to be honored for who they are. But the problem is they began to become worshipped.
Yeah.
The Creator was being set aside for these things that he created. They began to build temples. Priesthood started to rise up. The priests would teach the people. And as time went on, this and the history tells us, the Torah scholars teach us that through history, the people forgot the Creator. Some knew that he was, but they had forgotten him. And the only thing they knew was the temples and the idols that were in front of them. And that went on for generations. And that's been actually the history of man, and all the cultures have set up their belief systems and worship systems to the point that the further you got away from the creation point of that system, the people don't know how it started. And if you told them, they would reject it because this is all they knew. And again, that's hard on people. It's hard to reject something that you've always known and that you thought was factual. So that again, that's an example of how that's set up intent. So not everyone that corrupted, say in this time, from this time of the flood, from Noah to this time, there are droves and millions and billions of people who did not know that there was a way that they were corrupting.
Right. It becomes a form. I'm going to use two terms. Everybody knows genetics, but I'm going to throw into that epigenetics, that it becomes part of the genetic code. And whether it is in your DNA, it's not in your DNA of hair color, eye color, things of that nature.
It's in your remembrance DNA, which I seen a study on here the other day. It was interesting. And also, every one of us have a remembrance DNA.
Yeah. And also, as you grow up, as we was talking about Ronald's situation, is there are things that happen to us as we grow up that becomes conditioned inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And, all those play a factor in what happens around us. I'm not going to tell this. I'm not going to tell that story. I was going to tell the story about some of my church days, but I'm not going to tell that story. Go ahead.
That's kind of interesting. I'm reading this this book that Jacob recommended me that was put out. This is a translation, of course, of Rabbi Hirsch. He was a German Jew in the 1800s, so it was translated from like German and Hebrew into English, and they've even got more modern because this was one of the older. This is an English version from the 1800s itself, so some of the words can be fun to read in the 1800s English. But I thought it was interesting in this book that he wrote, and he's writing to this person, and he's doing it more in a story form to teach a lesson. He's written in a story. He's created two characters. One is a student and one is a teacher. And so this is from when the student writes the teacher a letter, and the teacher is responding. And what this is, he's written it like this so it can kind of teach principles in a story form, in a live, like a situation between two people. And I thought this was interesting. Actually, there was two things I was reading at lunch. Here it says, he goes, that in my, and this is the teacher speaking, he says, that in my earliest youth, these subjects employed my soul. I thought, wow, that was some interesting choice of words. Of course, again, this is this was translated somewhere in the 18, hold on, I'll tell you here in just a second. This particular, there's volumes now that's got a little more modern English in it. Trying to find the translator, September 1898 is this particular English translation of this book of Rabbi Hirsch's. So he was talking about different subjects with this student. So he's talking about the subjects that that was within him. He says that the subjects that employed my soul, and I thought, I'm going to think about that, a little bit more. It might be something interesting to maybe talk about sometime, about what has employed your soul. Like you were saying, people grow up in these ways and they don't know. We've become employed. Our souls have been employed in some of these things, and we don't know that maybe they corrupt the way, and we didn't know that because we didn't know any better.
The word employed is a key word there.
Yeah, I know. That's what caught my eye when I was reading that this afternoon.
Yeah, I work for the wage. Even though the wage, I never feel like it's enough. I still work for the wage.
Mm-hmm.
So those things that's a good wording.
Yeah, it was.
Like it's making my mind.
Yeah, that's the same way I'm sitting at lunch. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's time to go back and get in the hot box now. I gotta put my book up. And so he goes on. He says, employed my soul says that reared by the enlightened by the God fearing parents and the voices of the Tanakh. I'm talking about the prophets and the Psalms and of course the Creator in the Torah, the first 5 books. But they spoke early to my spirit, and I highlighted this, and I thought this was interesting. When my intelligence had already matured. Think of this.
Wow.
When my intelligence had already matured, I permitted the Tanakh, the Hebrew Scriptures, to lead me.
Wow, that needs to be a T-shirt.
When my intelligence had matured, I permitted the Tanakh, the Hebrew Scriptures, or the Torah for us, the Torah is for the nations, to lead me.
Wow.
And that is part, and when I read that, I got this out of my lunchbox there. I've had a feeling I was going to touch into this tonight. If we think about that this will help us by letting the Hebrew Scriptures and what we're learning, and especially in the book of Genesis, lead you.
Terry, can you show that book to everybody? Let me put
Well,
you.
this is not. I haven't gone through the whole book yet, but it's the one day that Jacob recommended, the 19 letters by Ben Uziel. It's written in story form.
I'm gonna put it on speaker view. Hold it up right there.
This is a rabbi and his student. Rabbi just means teacher. And this is written in a way that the student has drifted away from the way he was raised and gotten involved with the ways, quote, the ways of the world. And the ways of the world was causing him to drift away. And so the student started writing letters to the teacher, and then the teacher responds to his letters. And I'm just into the second letter, and the first paragraph there. But it clicked me when my intelligence had matured, I permitted my intelligence to let the Hebrew Scriptures guide me, the Tanakh.
Wow. Wow.
So anyhow, I thought that tied well in with this first part we were covering.
Yes. All right, Terry, are we ready to bring it to a close tonight?
We're ready. Is everything? How's everything going? Any questions?
Everything's good. The introduction to the introduction was great.
The introduction was great.
So we got a lot of thumbs up, and the good thing is on the Power Faith Radio, we didn't lose anybody. So that's always a good thing. So it's so good to have everybody tonight. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Ronald, you got your hand up again.
Yeah. Wendy just put up on the web that she's just got that book.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good deal.
Wendy Shepherd, yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, let me jump over here real quick. Thank you, for reminding me. I need to go over there and look and see who else joined us. Tiffany Self is over there, and Brooks Lee is over there on the one of the Facebook pages, and of course Amuela kindly watches that good, and she is so good tonight. She has posted all of the text and even where you're reading from tonight. Also, Wendy Shepherd and Case
and Dewey.
Sandra, huh?
Over here we've got Zeka and Dewey.
Yeah, go ahead, read those names that's over there.
Zeka I think she's our lady from South America, isn't
Yeah.
she?
Yeah.
And Dewey Ori,
Okay,
O-R-Y.
that's
I don't-
that's Harold and Karen over in Alabama.
All right, okay. And there was one mentioned earlier, which I think you did see anyway, Scotty, just could find the right mouse to move. What have we got here? Children of Noah. It was listed earlier that,
Yeah, great. Yeah.
yeah.
And then let's
And Cassandra says, "G'day, everyone." So I'm guessing Australian.
yeah.
I'm not sure. With a g'day. And that's everybody who's joined us here over at, who am I monitoring? Outreach, Noah.
Yeah. And then on our other Facebook page, we got Ellie Kessler, which is my aunt on my dad's side. And of course, again, Emuela did a great job posting all of the links. And we had other people that were there, but they didn't comment. And we so much appreciate everybody that joined us tonight. Remember, hit that notification bell on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel. We'd greatly appreciate it. Comment so we can see that you're there. Ask questions. Those of you that are listening by A Simple Walk or B'nai Noach Fellowship, please share those videos if you can with all your social media platforms. Invite some people to come on over and enjoy these teachings with us. And again, we appreciate everybody that joined us via Power Faith Radio. The Georgia group ended up having 34 tonight. Another family came over, and we appreciate them being with us tonight. So, Terry, without further ado, am I coming to a complete close?
If you want to, if there's no one else that's got anything that needs to ask about, we can. We'll continue next week with this from the Power Beyond, and then we'll actually enter in and start discussing the different I guess what you want to say, laws. I hate the word law in English because it has a negative thing, but basically the seven principles of Noah. And what I love about this list, the way we're going to go through, see, a lot of people confuse it with the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments was given to Israel. Actually, it's not commandments; it's 10 sayings. The word commandment's not even there in the Hebrew. It's devarim. It's the 10 words, the 10 sayings that are listed there. Is like 1, 2, 3 is for Israel. When they came out of Egypt with God at the mountain. What we have here pre-existed that some 2,000 something years and has never ceased to exist. It's actually, it's an eternal covenant that God has made with Noah in Genesis chapter 9 when you understand that. And it's not listed as 1, 2, 3 because it's the way it is involved within the Torah is it's involved between man and God, and man and God relationship, and man relationship. And what I love about this listing, and I've seen it before, the way Mr. Freeman does it, it's almost like it's in the levels of sanctity. It starts out with the highest sanctity, and it works it down to the least sanctity. And I like that. The when you go through it, you'll tell a difference from the other readings that you've read before. But I like this because it's like starts at the height and it just works its way down. This is important. This is next important. This is next important. I love that direction.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. So next week, part 2, the power from beyond, and then we'll begin with that, and then move into the embrace the relevance of the oneness of God. And it's going to be very interesting.
All right. Well, everybody, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.